No, he's gotten better each and every week. Watching him progress from spring ball, off season, spring ball, the summer to where we are now. He's continued to progress, and he does that because of the way that he works. That's what people don't see behind the scenes that we do as coaches, is the way that kid works. He's a competitor, and just being efficient. That's one thing that is good to see, is him just being able to take what's called and running our offense and running it efficiently. He can. We know what he can do with his feet, and now people know what he can do when he can throw the football. We've seen that as coaches, but just not forcing anything, just taking what was given and delivering the ball. And that's what we needed last week. It may be different this week, but that's what I love about Jaden, is he's going to do whatever we need to do for this football team to go out success. He's a competitor and he's a team guy. Yeah, they scored to make it 35-16. I think what was the 2-point conversion really started that. I think when they go for two, we stuff it. Defensively, we were able to control the conversion, and then that kind of got things a little bit back. Those little things matter, and I think that was a big win for our defense in that one moment. But then being able to convert the punt, keeping momentum on, and then what I was real pleased with was offense taking that conversion and turning it into points. We were able to get momentum back on our side there, and then we were able to keep it the rest of the game. That really would kind of like to have that little playback. You go to the last possession of the second half where they make it 35-10, and then they make it 35-16. But the way our kids responded, I was real pleased with them. Those kids worked. They worked hard all week long. They worked hard throughout the game. They played hard. Thought our coordinators did a good job putting a plan together, and I thought our kids really executed. Never panicked. Just needed to buckle down a little bit, and they were able to do that. He can run a little bit, so he gives us opportunity. He can kick it, and if things present itself, he can do some other things with the football. So it's been fortunate and worked out for us. We keep it on our normal schedule. We're gonna hit our pregame meal at the same time that we always do, whether we're on the road or we're at home. That's just kind of things that philosophy I guess I have. That's just kind of a creature of habit, I guess. We're gonna get on the road. We're gonna get there. We're gonna eat pregame meal. We're gonna get to the stadium. We're gonna have our team walk together and our team time together, and then we're gonna get ready to go play. Plainview's a good football team. Their quarterback is a really good player, 4-year starter. Can throw the ball. He does a great job with his feet, and they do a good job with what they, with how they use him and utilize him. But he's extremely efficient. Defensively, they fly around. They're capable of being very explosive. Offensively, leading the district in points scored. So we've got to make sure that we buckle down and we're sound in what we do, and get as many guys to the football as we can. That's a challenge that we're going to have this week. No, it was really good to see our kids put in the work. Winning's not easy. They work tirelessly. They're competitors. But really, what I was real pleased with last week was the way we were able to complement each other and play complementary football. I thought our special teams made plays, offense made plays, defense made plays. When we were able to do that collectively, we got the outcome that we wanted, and we got to work to do that again this week. That's a confidence builder. I think as a coach to be able to see that, the growth and improvement was big. Because the week before we needed to clean some stuff up, and we challenged our guys, and special teams we gave up a little bit. The week prior we needed to hone in, we needed to clean some stuff up, and go fix it, and we were able to do that. And that's the work that our kids put in. They see that, they understand that. When we're playing at our best, we have opportunities to go be successful. We got to do that, play in and play out, and now do it game in and game out. Yeah, no, I think the red zone stop right there was good. They were putting a good drive together defensively, kind of buckled down in the red zone, and I think it's huge for our defense to get a stop and hold them to a field goal. Kept them out of the end zone, and that's one thing when you have a long drive put together, but then you're able to buckle down, can get momentum, back on your side a little bit, and then offensively, was real pleased with them and our offense's ability to go, just go answer it. That's all we can control right there. They got 3, let's go try to answer it and get something back on the board. And then we're able to continue to do that and sustain drives throughout the scope of the game was good to see. I mean, the thing that we looked at after the previous game was, we needed to clean some stuff up. We needed to fix it. We didn't feel like we played, at our best, and that's what we preach. That's one of the standards. We're going to bring our best, and we're going to be at our best. And we got, the standard's a standard. We're not changing. And our kids responded, really well. And that was what was that was what was fun to watch. Was these kids. We've talked about the goal. The goal of this season wasn't to put up just to beat Lubbock Cooper or just to beat Memorial or whatever else. These guys have a vision and they understand that and see that. We want to be a playoff team. That wasn't a make or break. We can continue to get better, and that's what's been fun to watch is these kids respond. Going into last week, playoff picture and all that sort of stuff still in our control, and that's one thing we preach is control the controllables, and our kids are buying in and understanding that, and that's going to be the same thing this week. It was fun last week, but last week was last week. This week's a new week, a new opponent, a new opportunity against a good Plainview football team, and so that's the charge. And these kids have been buckled down and ready to go take on a new challenge. Yeah, you've got to be at your best. Period. We knew that this is an extremely tough and competitive district. You can see that now when you look at how things have shaken down in the first 3 weeks, and so that's one thing that it's important to understand and learn, that we got to be at our best, and that's the standard that we have. But you can really see that emphasized. Anybody can beat anybody. So we got to make sure that we're working to do the things that we need to do to get the ball rolling in our direction.
It's huge, and it's like I told the guys, the best wins are road wins, and knowing going up there that their backs were against the wall, and we knew we were going to get their best shot. For our guys to scratch out a win, it wasn't pretty, but at the same time, wins are hard to get, and especially in this district, and so for us to be able to go up there and take care of our end of the deal and play good football. The second half was really good. The first half, they did a good job. They did a good job of scheming, and we kind of went in at halftime and kind of reset. And again, a road win and a district win, I'll take it all the time. He doesn't say much, but he is a team guy, 100%. He's going to do whatever he needs to do that's best for the team. Just a worker, puts his head down in practice, and he's one of those guys that, when he gets the ball, there's not going to be any dilly-dallying around. He's going to get downhill quick, and he's really worked hard to build his frame. He's not very big, but man, he's a tough sucker, and I'm glad he's on our team. And again, I can't say enough about just what a great teammate he is. He's very unselfish, and when he needs to block, he's going to block, and when it's time for him to carry the ball, he's going to carry the ball, and he's going to do whatever he can to scratch out yards. And and especially in the offense that Coach Hartfield's set up, there's a lot of guys that have been established as threats, and from week to week, each guy's going to get, probably more opportunities than others. But, I think that's one good thing that he does, that Coach Hartfield does a good job of making sure who's got touches. But at the same time, man, he's going to go, who's got the hot hand. And from week to week, that could change. And, but Joyner, he takes full advantage of his opportunities, and he knows his importance in the offense and what he does. And when he gets the ball, our line does a good job of opening holes, and they don't have to be very big because he can get through them. And once he gets through them, man, he gets downhill. And again, he sticks his foot in the ground and he's off. That happens up there. When it's down here, it's business. We talked yesterday in our meeting prepping for the week, enjoy homecoming, but understand, there'll be a game Friday night, and everybody's coming in town to see each other, but they're also coming in town to see this game and see the product that you put out. And there'll be former players, there'll be alumni here, and they want to see what we're all about. So you got to do your part in practice, and so and at the same time, it's a district game, and so. We don't really make a big deal about it. It's not really a distraction as far as what goes on in what makes up homecoming. You know, it's another week, but it's a fun week, and we want them to enjoy it. But they got to understand, you know, come Friday night, they'll be the main attraction. Well, that's the key. Is on the road, you want to, because you're going to have to overcome momentum before you ever step on the field, and you know, we got a touchdown, and then they had an opportunity, and then they answered, and then they had an opportunity to get there and tie it, and Jeremiah Collins made a great play and intercepting that ball, which shut the momentum off, and then it allowed us to create some separation. And so, you know, when you're on the road like that, those are things that you gotta be able to overcome initially, and then you've got to create your own momentum, and we did that, and then we, you know, like I told them, once we get it, we can't give it back. Well, that's a great thing about our team. I mean, they know that we can always play better, and that's the goal, is to consistently get better. But look, you know, I mean, we're going to celebrate wins, especially when they're district wins, especially when they're road wins. And so, you know, for us to, you know, that's the humility part of that you got to have on your team, is to know, you know, you can always play better, and we want to continue to close the gap of our capability each week, and so, you know, that's what we're going to do this week. Well, I mean, we came in Friday and we got a lift, got some treatment, came back on Monday, did the same thing, and so we utilized that time that we had just because of our school schedule, how it was set up too. Kind of got a little mini break in there, but we still, you know, we focused more on recovering our body than we did more so you know, focusing on the football part of it. Just, you know, constant improvement. You know, every position can get better. And that's what I told the guys in our meeting. You know, our man trait this week was self-discipline, you know, and that's the deal, that you want to keep doing the things that you need to do, because sometimes they're not always the things you feel like doing. And for us, it's critical that we continue. You know, the self-motivation is what keeps you going. It's the self-discipline is what gets you growing. And so, you know, that's the biggest deal that we want to make sure that we're doing this week.